To go ahead and get started, I want to welcome everybody to our last Cattle Over Coffee webinar of the summer. As a reminder, all of these are archived on our YouTube channel if there's any that you're interested in going back to watch. Today's topic is management strategies for beef cattle systems, and we're specifically going to focus on growth promoting implants. Our speaker today is Dr. Barbara Reese. She's an assistant professor located down in Poplarville at the White Sands Research Unit, and I think she's going to give maybe a little bit of introduction of her background when she gets started. So I won't share any more than that. And Barbara, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Brandy, for the short introduction. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. I also would like to thank you all for joining us today on this last session of the Cattle Over Coffee. So today we'll be talking about some management strategy for beef cattle systems, and I will focus specifically on growth promoting implants. So I will walk you through some basics of growth promoting implants, and I'll share some data from our research at the station. And hopefully I will be able to offer some practical takeaways that you might consider applying for your operation, depending of your goal, okay? So as Brandy mentioned, I always like to include a brief introduction about myself for my presentations, because you might notice a bit of an accent here. So I'm originally from Brazil. I had my bachelor's and master's from the University of São Paulo. Then moved to the US in 2020 and earned my PhD from Virginia Tech in 2023. And on that same year, I joined Mississippi State as an assistant professor, where I'm based at the White Sands Research Unit here in Poplarville. So I like to define my research and extension program as that are centered around improving beef cattle productivity. So through the use of nutritional and management strategies. So within that topic and that goal, I have done some work that includes mineral nutrition, heat stress mitigation, specifically with a focus on chromium supplementation. Done quite a bit of fetal programming, also focusing on targeting mineral supplementation, protein supplementation in grazed cattle, evaluating different strategies, and also some nutritional and management strategies for growing cattle, which well aligns for this topic of this conversation today. Okay. But for the discussion today, I will begin with a short context of productivity in cow-calf systems. Then we're following management strategy, as I mentioned, focusing on growth, promoting implants. Then I will share some current and also past research that we conducted at the station with the focusing on implant strategies. And then we'll conclude today's presentation with some takeaways, hopefully. Okay. So when you talk about cow-calf systems and cow-calf operations, we are truly talking about the foundation of the entire beef production system, right? Because basically the nutritional and management strategies that we made at this stage have long-lasting effects, right, on the system, because it's the productivity on the system that determines the availability of cattle for growth and harvest, okay? So ideally, the goal of a cow-calf system is to produce a calf per cow each year, right? So especially today, taking into consideration the cattle market conditions and also the growing population and as well the growing demand for beef and meat intake. Ideally, we focus and we try to focus and we have to focus actually in maximize calf production efficiency. So in order to do that, in order to maximize the calf production and also maximize cow-calf systems efficiency, we are talking about providing adequate nutrition and also adequate and good management strategy that could allow us to increase our efficiency within this stage, right? So that requires a strong foundation and also proper nutrition and management practices within this stage, okay? But when you talk about calf production and calf efficiency, we first have to think about fetal growth. That means that we have to talk about early maternal nutrition, right? So looking at this graph here, it is true that the most of the growth fetus happens during this stage third, highlighted here in red. So that means the final trimester of gestation, right? So that's where we're gonna see the most calf development. And there's also where most of the research has traditionally focused when we talk about fetal programming and fetal development, okay? So but is also as important as the last trimester of gestation, the early phase of gestation, that means stage 1 here, showing this graph, and also stage 2, because there is specifically organs development that is happening here. So early gestation also, nutrition early in gestation also plays a key role in calf development and is as important as the last trimester of gestation, okay? So now we know that and I have mentioned that specific organs are being formed during this early gestation period, such as liver, pancreas, and kidneys. They start being developed during this early stages of gestation. So that means that maternal nutrition is also critical during the first embryonic stage in a cow gestation, right? So that means that programming fetal development have lasting consequences on the calf postnatal performance, including birth weight, weaning weight, and also carcass characteristics late in life. So if you look at the literature, there is plenty of evidences that shows that inadequate nutrition during gestation would negatively impact calf productivity. And if you look at this picture, in the case of muscle development, that means myogenesis here, so the formation of the muscle fibers, that occurs primarily in early life and going through mid to at some point of the last periods of gestation. So any inadequate nutrition here during this phase would have tremendous effects of calf performance, because when the calf is born, the number of the muscle fibers are set, so the animal will not be able to have more fiber numbers. Okay, so we can change the size of those fibers, but you cannot change the numbers of those fibers. So any nutritional inadequate restriction or nutritional restriction during this window where muscle development in fetus are happening would compromise the growth and also the development of a muscle on those calves, okay? So that means that also shows the importance of the maternal nutrition on cattle development. We have a previous session on nutrition on this for the cattle over coffee, so I'm not gonna focus on a specific recommendation of maternal nutrition, but it's just to highlight the importance of nutrition and management on calf development postnatal life, okay? But although much of this calf development and also organ development leads during the gestation, the calf does not stop growing at birth, right? So we have organs being developed and also tissue differentiation that continues after birth. So when you talk about early life environmental stimuli or any nutritional stimuli that can influence cellular and also molecular adaptations, and those processes can shape how this animal will function long term. So this concept of environmental or nutritional stimuli are known as metabolic imprinting. So is this idea that nutritionally and also environmentally strategies will have lasting effects and can have results during the calf's growth, metabolism and performance. So that's why when you talk about both maternal nutrition and also this early life nutritional and also management strategies can be critical for calf performance later, because they will be having effects in things such as birth weight, weaning weight, and also carcass quality, as we mentioned before. So when you talk about this concept of metabolic imprinting cattle, two good examples are early weaning and also creep feeding strategies. So basically, on those two strategies, we are changing. We are actually applying early life strategies, and those strategies, if applied correctly, they can improve and enhance calf growth. They would affect dry matter intake, and that would lead to greater weaning weights and also lasting long effects on the finishing phase, such as performance and also some carcass characteristics. Okay. So having in mind these concepts and how these strategies can be applied postnatal calf life as well, can be good strategies for improving this calf production and efficiency that we talk in our first slide here. Okay. But so far, we have talked about how nutrition, both during gestation and after birth, plays a role in shaping this calf growth and have long-term performance on a calf's life. But beyond nutrition, we also have some management tools and management technologies that can build on that nutrition foundation that we talk about. So one of the management strategies that proved to be very effective also in cow-calf systems is the use of growth promoting implants, right? So what are implants? Okay, so implants are naturally or synthetic produce estrogens or androgens, that means hormones, right? And those hormones, those naturally or synthetic products will mimic the hormone function on the animal, and they are used for increase average daily gain. So research has been proved that they can increase average daily gain from 8 to 20%. They can also improve efficiency from 5 to 20%, and then they would have improving lean tissue deposition from 5 to 12%, okay? So when implants are implemented correctly, they will work hand in hand with nutrition, right? And they can further enhance growth and efficiency of cattle. And in this case, we're gonna talk about implants during this for the cow-calf system or during the suckling phase of the calf, okay? So even though implants are well documented and they show to improve growth performance and efficiency, their use isn't consistent across the beef industry, okay? So we have the first commercial implant introduced in 1957. And since there, they are widely adopted in the feedlot sector. So based on USDA 2013, up to 94% of steers and heifers are implanted during the finishing phase, but we don't see as much as adoption during the cow-calf sector, right? So considering smaller operations, so with a less of 100 cows, only 9% of steers are implanted. And in large operations where we have more than 100 cows, data shows that 37% of steers are implanted as calves. So quite a bit of a difference between phases of production here. Even though we know that implants can be good strategies for growth performance, okay? But when we talk about how these implants, the implants work and how they increase efficiency, so when you talk about, for example, the estrogenic implant or estrogens, they work by stimulating the pituitary gland. So that would increase the circulating of growth hormone, okay? So that growth hormone needs to bind when it passes through the same membrane. It needs reaches the organ itself. It needs to bind to its receptor to actually work. So that would implants show that the receptor for the growth hormone will increase its binding or its capacity in the liver. So after going to circulation and reaching the liver, those receptors capacity would increase. And then when we increase the receptors for growth hormones, that would increase the synthesis and the release into the circulation of this IGF-1 here, or insulin-like growth factor 1 hormone. And that IGF-1 will enhance, sorry, would enhance muscle protein synthesis and also will reduce muscle protein breakdown. So by decreasing muscle protein breakdown and increasing muscle protein synthesis, that will increase and also supports the development of lean muscle mass, which will increase and improve the growth efficiency of cattle, okay? But it's very important to mention that for implants to work and actually do what they're supposed to do here, based on this mode of action, adequate nutrition is necessary before we can see this positive influence on feed efficiency and gain. Okay, so again, we need that nutritional foundation. Otherwise, the implant's benefits will be limited, okay? So proper insertion of implants are as important as the product itself, right? So correct placement is essential for the product to do what it's supposed to do, right? So we ideally, implants should be inserted subcutaneously right here in the middle third of the ear. So we should avoid any contact with the cartilage here and also blood vessels. And if you do not properly insert the implant, it can cause some abscess formation. So we don't want that, right? So we are truly wanted to keep welfare of those animals. So if you want a good recommendation and also better information on how to use implants and how we insert implants, we have a very good information on our beef quality assurance, our BQA, and we have those information online as well. So I highly recommend that to check beef quality assurance. And if you plan to use implants, make sure that we find the BQA guidelines, okay? So proper insertion is as important as the product itself if you wanted to have all the benefits that this technology can offer, okay? So what I brought here is a short video of us implanting some calves at the station this year for a project that I will briefly talk about. So it's highly recommended that we wear gloves or keep your hands clean and clear your hands between animals. So we see in this video that we're not wearing gloves, but we're cleaning our hands between animals, okay? So if the site of the insertion is dirty, we also recommended to clean the site of the implant insertion, and also clean the needle with disinfectant. We can use chlorhexidine between animals, and change the needle if it's needed, if you plan to use the needle multiple times, okay? So let's see if you can. So as you guys can see, applying and inserting the implant is very quick And if it's done properly, the animal doesn't, well, we cannot guarantee that, but we do not notice any abnormal behavior, okay? So is a very straightforward technique that we can do on your operation. It fits your goals and your objectives, okay? So the simple actions like cleaning the site, make sure that we disinfect the needles, and wearing gloves if it's necessary can reduce the risk of infection, right? And also will guarantee that the implants will work successfully. And if you have any questions, again, you can check the BQA guidelines, or you can also text me or contact Mississippi Station extension, that we are here to help you. When you talk about implants guidelines, as July 2023, the FDA changes the rules and how implants can be used across production phases. So we are now, implants can only be used once per production phase, unless the label of the product specifically allows to be reimplanted. So it specifically allows reimplantation. So what was changed was the 3 production phases definition. So based on FDA, we have nursing calves being one phase, growing cattle on pasture, and also feedlot or confinement phase. So this cattle fed in confinement for harvest, mean growing or finishing under confinement settings, is now considered single production phase. So that means that this phase can last, for example, 300 days, which would provide less type of implants that can be used during the finishing phase. So after these guidelines, there are currently only 3 implants that can be used during the finishing phase and can be reimplanted, because the other implants that were previously good to be used, they do not have on their label that they allows for reimplantation, okay? So basically only the feedlot phase implants that may allow reimplantation now, but we have to check the label and make sure that we are following FDA guidelines when you talk about implants, okay? So keep on, sorry. Keep up to date on these guidelines. Can help us on how we can plan implant programs and stay compliance moving forward. So make sure that we check the product label and we plan your implant program accordingly, okay? So this slide here shows the approved implants that can be used for nursing calves. That means less than 4,000 pounds. So based on FDA guidelines, this production phase here, nursing calves. So those implants, they can be, so some of them, they can be used in steers and heifers. So what you're gonna see here, there is different implants. They have different ingredients and different dose, okay? So some of them are synthetic, some like the Zeranol, and some of them, they have the natural ingredient. So different implants, they have different payouts. So that means how long we expect that implant to be working and releasing its product, right? So in average, most of the implants, they're gonna have a payout of 70 to 100 days. So the payout period is also important when you plan to define your implant program, right? So basically, based on your goal, you can decide each implant will be better fit for your operation. So they have low or moderate potency based on the payout period as well, and based on the ingredient dose of the hormones. I'm gonna share some data that we use first, the Incor implant, which is a long release implant. So they're supposed to be working for 400 days. So there is a longer payout, so a long release in hormone. And then in our current research, I'm using the Sinovac C because we are implanting both steers and heifers, okay? So it's also important to consider that if you plan to retain both calves for breeding, we do not recommend that implant both calves because it can change the testosterone physiology. So we do not recommend to implant bull calves intended for breeding, okay? So we have to keep in mind there are different implants appropriate for every stage. We also have extension publication on MSU extension publications that we are working on updating, and then we're gonna have all the implants approved for each production phase. So again, double check the label is very important to avoid misuse of implants and when you plan to define your implant program, okay? So we cover right now, we cover some importance of the nutrition, productivity in cow-calf systems, and how growth promoting implants work, right? So I will start sharing now some results from our previous study that we conducted last year at the White Sand Beef Unit. And also one of our ongoing research that we are also focusing on implant strategies. So the title of this research was we are interested on the effects of trace mineral injections at weaning on growth, inflammatory, and immune response in Bosindicus influenza beef calves that have previously been implanted or not during the nursing phase or during the suckling phase, okay? So we know that in a cow-calf system, calves experience different management strategies throughout their life cycle, right? So we castrate those animals, we vaccinate those animals, we also wean calves, right? So these management strategies, they can represent stressors, right, to those animals, and those stressors, they can affect calves' metabolism, immune system, and also performance. So even though this is a natural reaction, those stressors can trigger inflammatory reaction, right? So inflammatory reaction is a naturally occurring reaction, but it can is characterized actually by the synthesis of cytokines. And those synthesis of cytokines triggers synthesis of acute phase proteins, right? So those cytokines are known to decrease the IGF-1 synthesis that we discussed previously when we talk about the mode of action of implants. All right, so we decrease IGF-1 synthesis, we decrease calf performance, right? Because we can decrease muscle development. So there are some management strategies that we can use and we can also apply in our operation on a daily basis that can mitigate the effects of those stressors. So when you talk about growth performance, the way that we can actually increase IGF-1 synthesis is using growth promoting implants, right? So that's how, and that's actually why we implant animals on this project. And when you talk about their immune responses, one of the strategies that we might think about use as well is trace minerals, right? So trace minerals have antioxidant effects that can help animals under some immune and inflammatory periods, okay? So when for this project itself, we had basically two research goals. So that was assessing the effect of implant administration during the suckling phase, right? And also we want to assess the effect of those the trace mineral injections on immune responses and inflammatory responses when animals have previously been implanted or not. And we also evaluating producers' acceptance and adoption of growth promoting plants in growing beef calves. So I will ask you all online to answer a survey at the end of this presentation that will help us on our research and future proposals, okay? So briefly here, what we did, we implanted steers with 2 months of age, and we kept those animals in a single group until weaning. So this period here, those animals had access only to pasture grass and milk, of course, and is considered pre-weaning phase. So it lasts from minus 180 days to day zero here being the weaning date, okay? And you body weight those animals 4 times during the pre-weaning phase. From weaning, we follow those animals during a preconditioning phase until 45 days after wean, and we body weight and blood samples those animals on day 0, 1, 3, 7, 14, 28, and 45. For the preconditioning phase, the calves are also kept in a single group, but they receive hay plus a supplement, 14% crude protein supplement, okay? So that was at the day 0, the weaning date, that we actually apply the trace mineral injections on those animals. And we had animals that receive a saline solution as a control treatment or the ITM. And before treatment application, we vaccinated those animals against bovine respiratory infections and also diarrhea virus types 1 and 2, because we wanted to assess the inflammatory and immune response to vaccination, if there was a difference on when the animal is implanted or not, and receive trace minerals or not, okay? So for the sake of this presentation, I'm just gonna show the pre-weaning body weight, so performance results. So moving forward to this result, implanted calves, they were an average 16.3 kilograms heavier at weaning than non-implanted animals. So just a very simple and straightforward math here. So if you consider a market price of $1.30 per pound per pound, which is currently higher than this, right? We're gonna have an extra revenue of 46 per calf. If you deduct the implant cost, which is about 150 per calf, that will provide a net profit of $45 per calf under this scenario here, okay? So of course, these values will change based on different scenarios. That shows a return of investment here, $30 return per $1 spent. So in average, a return of investment for the use of implants are about $15 to $20. So considering the cattle market nowadays, so this return of investment here was higher. But keep in mind that I do not consider any costs related to forage management or any other costs here. So it's basically just the cost of the implant and based on how much they gain receiving the implant, okay? So I think in summary, this can highlight that any strategy like implant, even during the cow-calf phase, can also offer some economic benefits if is well combined with nutrition, and if you have that nutritional foundation that is so important that we mentioned before, okay? So this, we are almost wrapping it up here. So this is one of our ongoing projects that we are currently performing at the station. So we are interested in evaluating how creep feeding supplementation and growth promoting implants will interact, and how those management and nutritional strategies during early life that we're talking here would affect the pre and post weaning steers, and at this time heifers as well performance, okay? So we have 4 pastures that with creep feeding and 4 pastures without creep feeding, and in both pastures we have steers and heifers and implanted and non-implanted animals. So this is actually a picture of one of our creep feeding strategies. So we did ourselves this creep feeding here at the station. So it's also good to show that you can adapt this strategy on your operation, and if you judge and that if you see there will be a good fit for your goal and for your operation. Okay, so in this case, we are using a different implant strategy, like I mentioned. So it has 100 days, 70 to 100 days payout. So we implanted those animals 100 days before the weaning date. So I set the weaning date, we went 100 days before, and we start our project. And we are following those animals during the growing phase, measuring body weight and blood sample every 28 days. Okay, so I think this is a very nice and applied research, and I don't have any preliminary data to share with you all today, but hopefully I'll be able to share some of these results in October at the White Sand Field Day. Okay. So just to wrap it up, I just wanted to leave you with a few points that first, proper cow nutrition during gestation is critical, and it lays the foundation for calf development and also would influence this long-term performance that we aim in a cow-calf system, right? Second, implants are safe for consumers, right? So we don't have, there is a lot of research showing that would not affect any the safety of the meat product, and then it can be very profitable when combined with good nutrition, right? And always remember that it's not one size fits all strategy. So basically, I highly recommend you to choose the management strategy that best fits your operation, your goals, and also the resources that you have. And as I asked before, if you have some time, please scan this survey, this QR code here, and answer the survey that I have been distributing when I can about growth promoting implants that would help us with our research and future proposals. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention and be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Barbara. I also just shared a program evaluation, so you can click through those as you have some time. So we've got probably 10, 15 minutes for questions. I think you covered a lot of really good information in this presentation. So I will go ahead. I believe everybody is muted. So if you have a question, if you would either unmute yourself and ask, or if you would prefer it to type the question in the chat.
Let me share my last slide again, so I stop sharing just in case folks want to scan the QR code again. I'm sorry.
Sure, that's fine. If you want to put the link to the survey in the chat box, that would be good too.
Yeah, awesome. So let me get the link really quick here.
So
And
while
if you guys have
you're working on that, anybody have questions? I feel like implants are something that have gotten a bad rap in recent years, and there's a lot of producers that are scared of using implants because there's been some kind of negative connotations
yes.
associated with them. I always talk to producers about it in terms of it's almost a free lunch kind of thing. What it pays for itself in terms of the minuscule amount. I know you didn't get too much into that. You showed the results from that project you did, but will you talk a little bit on like return on investment from implanting during the pre-weaning phase for producers that maybe sell calves at weaning or shortly thereafter?
What did you ask me again?
Oh, just talk a little bit about return on investment from
Oh, yeah,
implants.
sure. So I think it's important to mention that returns of investment would change based on your operation, and also the nutrition that we offer the cattle as well. So as I mentioned, implants are not going to work if you don't have a good nutrition foundation. So if you have not a good forage characteristics, or if you're not first meeting the calves requirements of energy and protein, which is very important, that implant's not gonna work. But based on the research data and the data that I share here, we had a good forage mass and good pasture that we offer those calves, and we had a good return. So that was a $30 return per $1 investment. So when applied correctly under your goals and under your management, that can be a good strategy for producers. If that answer your question.
That's exactly what I was looking for. Any other questions?
Dr. Barbara, I have a question if that's okay.
Oh, sure.
So you brushed up a little bit about the implants being able to be used on heifers as well. So I was just gonna ask you, what would you recommend for heifers implants? I'm a big believer on heifer development, especially when you're raising replacement heifers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about, puberty onset and how would that affect your AI protocols if you're developing your heifers to get them bred as soon as possible on that area.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. So, implants, they can, as I mentioned, they can be used on heifers, but we recommended to not implant replacement heifers after 7 months of age. So also, is very important to follow the product label. So there is some literature that shows that is when we talk about heifers, is a little bit inconsistent. So we see some results that improve reproductive effect that actually improve the reproductive side in heifers, but some of them do not have any effects on reproduction development, and some had a negative effects, and they can also affect pregnancy rates. So I think that opens up an opportunity for more research when we talk about heifers and puberty attainment when using implants. But for sure, they increase body weight at weaning, but there is inconsistent results in terms of pregnant success and that line. And also, answering the last part of your question, recommending an implant will be based on your goal and your operation. So there are those 5 implants. They are approved from FDA that can be used during the suckling phase, but I think 3 of them can be used on heifers. And it was basically it was based on your goals and when you plan to implant your heifers in your operation.
Thank you.
Any other question or comments?
I have a quick question, Barbara, and you may have covered enough materials already to answer this question, but when producers are trying to pick which implant to buy, like which product, you mentioned that the payout, like the days, was going to be important for them to look at. And then Lulu just brought up the idea about, are you developing replacement heifers? How soon can you get them in the heifers? If you are going to have them as replacements, can you get them in that heifer earlier? Are there any other major considerations in picking the implant product from that list of potential products that you showed us earlier?
So first we have to check if that product is approved from USDA to be used during that production side, right? And it was basically different implants have different time for insert for application. So there are implants that can be applied with after 30 days after birth. There are some implants that we can apply only 60 days after birth. So it's basically what fits better again on your operation. So I'll check if they're approved, the payout period based on your goal, and when you can actually insert those implants, because that will change based on the label of the product.
Great,
We
got
have one question in the comments. During the
Good
TMI
question.
study, did the calves has access to summer or winter forages?
So that during that study, we wean the calves in August. So basically, they're getting some summer forage, but they start like decreasing, right? That's the neutral contact, and also they went through the winter forage as well. But we finished the study and they just have access to summer forage. I did not share the results, but that we have some booster effect when we combine the trace mineral injections and the implant strategy. That is the pre-weaning phase of that study. So we had some interesting results on that. So that a paper is under review, so hopefully that'll be available soon.
Thank you. Any
Brandy,
more questions? Oh, go ahead.
well, no, Brandon, just more of a comment. Thank you for making the comment about implants not being as popular and getting a bad rap, because I to be honest with you, when I saw this topic, and I've been in and out, that's the first thing I said, man, they still even use implants. And I guess it's something that maybe not even that we even promote enough, even in extension, because I can't, it seems like we used to have a publication on it a long time ago. But thank you for making that statement, because I just texted my brother, hey, look, do we still use implants on the farm? But maybe it's something that we can start promoting, for producers to,
Exactly.
start back to using maybe.
Thank you for your comment, actually, because one of the objectives and why I started, and I think Brandy also does some research with implants, is such a good strategy that is not well applied and used in cow-calf system and during, like, for our operation, our situation here. And I think advertising and showing some research results can actually help producers and maybe defines a better implant strategy for each operation. So that's my goal as well here.
Yeah, I think a lot of the research on implants was done a long time ago. And
Exactly.
I
So-
appreciate the fact that you're doing more work down there that is specific to our area, because I think Lemon's comment is valid. We haven't talked about implants and extension for a while, and we do still have an extension publication that Barbara is going to work on revising and updating. So I appreciate that comment.
So even when I was looking for some, looking and checking the literature for this current publication, most of the research and the results were like back in the 90s when we have some results on the suckling phase. And with this new FDA guidelines, that actually opens up an opportunity to and start doing research with implants, and was also one of the conversation topics that we had this year in the national meeting, because that changes a lot of things when we cannot reimplant animals, even though during the finishing phase. So there is also tremendous research opportunities when we have for example, Bos indicus influence, because they respond differently in terms of growth and growth performance. So my cattle here at White Sands, they do have some Bos indicus influence. So the way that they perhaps respond to an implant program is different than when we only consider an pure Angus with no Bos indicus influence. And there's also some need for research on that line. I think, yeah, hopefully that'll be helpful for producers.
Any more questions? All right. If there are no more questions, I will call it. We are 12:02. So we made it right up until lunchtime. So